The two tanks that we are going to showcase today recently got buffed. I say recently, I mean about a month and a bit ago, but these tanks, I promise, are some of the more interesting British tanks in the game because they have super high DPM for the tier. These are the tier 8 medium tanks, the Atomic Centurion, and we've also got the Huntsman Centurion, which are kind of wanted to bundle into one since they are basically the same tank but a skinned version. Wouldn't be like Wargaming to create two of the same tank and charge you gold for both of them. But of course they are premium vehicles and they predominantly feature around having the lower alpha damage compared to, you know, some of the Soviet mediums, but they do have the ability to really push out a ton of damage, and that ton of damage is what we're going to be seeing in this replay. Now we've got a nice combination of AP and APCR, not HE. That would have been a very big mistake if we had HE in this thing, but we are playing this thing on Redshire. This is Redshire Assault, one of the most unbalanced maps in the game. We got the losing spawn, unfortunately, where you have to push into all of the opponents that basically camp on a hill and wait for you to make the mistake. However, saying that, we actually end up winning this game. Yes, spoiler alert, blah blah blah. This one is all about the tank though, so we want to see what the Atomic can actually do and how we can use the Atomic to have some good games. And this applies to both the Centurion 1 as well, so and the Centurion 7/1, so both the tech tree vehicles and pretty much any medium tank that is kind of similar to this. The STRV-K, for example, sort of similar tank too. But we recently featured the STRV-K, which got buffed as well, but this one was separate because it doesn't get the alpha damage, and of course this is the tier 8 as opposed to the 390 alpha damage that you get on that tier 9 Swedish medium. But you're seeing here, we just push up nicely into this position, which allows us to get a few shots into the overpushed tanks like the Defender, for example. Now, we didn't manage to pen the Defender in the side of the turret, no surprise there, but what we can do is just farm him as soon as he exposes that hull armor, and of course we could always load the premium if we don't pen too much, which is exactly what we've done. But what we can do is just keep spotting. We found ourselves a lovely Indian Panzer who's decided he's going to gift us some damage in this one. I'm a little bit careful from the left hand side and of course from any of the high alpha TDs that they might have. As you should always be doing, is just thinking about what sort of tanks can actually hit me when I'm cresting up on these sorts of ridges. Now we do get hit here. I believe that was actually from the Draugen on the enemy team, who was undetected for that period of time, and yeah, I knew that we were probably going to take one or two, but at this point now it becomes a battle of how much damage can we deal before we start getting taken out, and hopefully we're able to deal a little bit more than just 1800 damage, as yeah, not ideal either now because we've had our turret destroyed, which is fantastic. But what I do want to say is that this is actually not the worst scenario in the game, because what we can do here is finish off the people in the middle. Once they're out of the game, we can then start dealing with some of the people behind us and in front of us to the other side, because what we have is some teammates who are behind, so if we spot for them, they are going to be able to really deal quite a bit of damage. At least that's the intent. But we've done 2,200 damage, which is good, but we have blocked also 1,100, and that is because the turret armor of these Centurions got buffed a long time ago, and of course in the most recent buffs we saw increases to, I believe, the damage, the accuracy, that sort of stuff, or at least the damage per minute of these tanks, so that made them just a little bit better from personal opinion. And yeah, it just makes these tanks very, very powerful, and I thought that they were good anyway. I didn't think they were awful. They probably, you know, aren't the easiest tanks to get a grips with if you are a player that has first played World of Tanks, or a brand new player, or someone that's less experienced on the game. These probably are not the easiest, but at the same time they get very good strong turrets. They have quite forgiving guns, they're really accurate, so maybe they are pretty decent for a newish player. But at the same time, they are big boxy areas that if you expose your hull armor, you get penned every single time, and even the turret can be penned by higher tier vehicles, and these do play up to tier 10, so you have to be a little bit careful here. Now what we're doing here is just poking this hammer. I'm careful that there is some other tanks like these tigers who are going to be able to hit us. So at this point I'm just trying to farm up as much of this damage as possible, just taking the shots, using that super good reload that this tank has to be able to do that. Now a lot of other mediums, if you had the 320, you wouldn't be able to trade with a Tiger 131 where you can get 2 shots into him for every one. And you certainly wouldn't be able to bounce as many rounds this one has off of the turret, because things like the T-44, which is the Soviet medium tank, you definitely couldn't do that realistically. Now we are bouncing off of a hammer, which is very unknown. I don't quite know what was happening there, and then we missed the next one. Yay, thank you. Thanks for the assistance, Wargaming. But we start actually fully aiming, and here we go. This is where it starts to pick up. And we've done 4,000 damage so far, which is a good game in a tank like this. We've also blocked 2,200, which is certainly a very good game as well. Looks like we are going to win this, since, you know, the enemy team down by 2 tanks. And we have a few people pushing in from the eastern side of the map now into where their tanks are going to be. But it is a map where you have to take out every tank in the game, or cap. Now capping on this map is basically impossible, because, you know, it's always good when you introduce a assault game mode where one team can basically only lose by 1 condition and the other team can lose by about 5. Well, not actually 5, but it's more like 3. Which is never good, and those are that, you know, if they take you all out, you lose the game. If you don't cap, you lose the game, and if you don't push, you lose the game. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those where it just feels like the enemy team get the better spawn, whereas, you know, what we do here, we start pushing in. I'm after that extra bit of damage. Can we get some on the back of the Centurion Action X? There's a little rat in the Iron Rain at the back of the map, probably done nothing all game, but, you know, fun. We have 3 minutes left on the game, and hopefully the team are going to be able to finish off these last few opponents in the Carnarvon Action X. And of course the medium tanks, we will catch you at the result screen and hopefully end up winning this. So victory screen incoming, there we go. We did manage to actually take them all out. We picked up 4,850 damage, which was a very good game. The Barask on the team also had a good game. We managed to pick up 1.97 million silver in that game too, because of the silver with interest operation that we had going, I believe. And yeah, not a mastery badge, even with 1,800 base experience. So I mean, take from that what you will. That is the Atomic Centurion, but let's jump over to the Huntsman Centurion. The next game that we do have is, of course, in the Huntsman, and the Huntsman is all about using the same attributes that the Atomic has, but in a different skin version. Way, surprise, surprise. But the Huntsman, we are going to see what you can do on a more of a town map, and of course a map where you kind of have to push, and we're going to see a little bit of pushing action, whereas the previous game it was a lot of farming from, you know, the hills using the gun depression. These tanks get good gun depression as well, which makes them very powerful on those ridge lines using the turret features that this one has. But what we do with the Huntsman is go to the field to try and get some early game damage. We hit the links, nice, we slow him down by destroying one of his tracks. He then tries to you know, go behind some of the buildings, and we managed to hit him again. So nice little bit of assistance straight away, and we also pick up that 450 damage too. So not a bad start to the game, and of course we want to push that advantage to the enemy team. So what we do is we push in up to this location. Given the fact that light tank's out of the game, I am pretty confident with what we can do from here. Now the Ag Tiger on the enemy team, as you could see from there, has of course got 2 marks, but doesn't really matter because he's just been pumped, and I mean pumped as well. He is feeling a little bit worse for wear, and now he's going to feel even worse for wear. That's probably not the best explanation, but he's gone, and so I am very happy with how that ended up. But this is not a good situation, but we can turn a bad situation into a better one by getting a hold down, and now the enemy team are thinking, well, crap, I'm now gonna get ruined. So we deal 1,500 damage with a little bit of assist too, but we do get hit from the left, which is a little bit disappointing, but we will take it. And so all we have to do now is play a little bit more passively. We've done the aggressive bit, we've won this side of the map, so hopefully we can start dealing with things like the Goronich and Sturm Tiger P goes in the way, not a problem because the 59 pattern sat side on. Not quite sure what he's doing here, but I will quite happily take away the majority of your hit points. Now the Goronich is going hold down, but don't worry because we can hit the Cupola because the accuracy of this tank is pretty good, so no problems there. Hopefully we can get that final shot into that Cupola or find the side of him, and we do find the side of him, easy as you like. Nice little 2,400 damage with a little bit of assist as well. I'll be interested to see what you guys think of these Centurions. Do you like them? These Centurion lines within World of Tanks are some of my favourites. These are genuinely, definitely the tanks that I prefer to go to if I'm playing a medium. I like the fast rate of fire, I like being able to track and deal damage, and these are very, very good at being able to do that, which is why I was very pleased to see when they introduced the Huntsman and the Atomic as season pass rewards for reaching tier 100 during some of the seasons. Now we do decide to push in. There's a little 257. Obviously if we're firing those APCR rounds it's going to be better, but we don't need them because the standard rounds on this thing are decent enough to be able to do it. But you know, if you were in a bit of a clutch situation you probably would want to start firing some of those premium rounds, but not a problem in this one. So it's just a case of trying to mop up that last remaining bit of damage. Can we hit this VK? We do manage to bounce one there. And so hopefully we can farm up a tiny bit more damage, managing to bounce off of the Cupola, or at least the turret of the VK. It's a little bit difficult to do, but he gives us the broadside of his turret and I will quite happily take a bit of those hit points. But hopefully we can push now. It's time to get a little bit more damage. We go for a speculative shot on the Conway, find ourselves a little Borsig who's sat at the back of the map, getting some more assistance as well. So it's time to push. There's two tanks left alive. It's a Borsig and of course a Charioteer. Can we get another one? No, not quite, but he gets taken out and it looks like that is going to be the game. But I thought these two replays, good examples of what these Centurions can do in the game, and of course being the fact that, you know, they were a buff recently, so hopefully it was a good little showcase of what they are, how you can play them, how we can translate that to the Centurion 7/1, the Centurion Action X, and of course the Centurion 7-1. So yeah, let me know what you think of these two tanks. It was a quick one today and hopefully an interesting one for you to see both of these ones in action, since I don't think we've shown them in a long time. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out some of the other interesting news, especially regarding the new season coming tomorrow when this video goes live. So have a look at the first look information on screen right now and hopefully I'll see you there. If not, have a great rest of your day and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.